Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Silly Girl with Her Silly Sports. Today's segment is TDs with TDs. TDs with TD is just all things football, where I share my opinion on games, on things going on in the football world. Football related, I'm talking about it. Now, I want to talk about the last weekend's playoff games. I predicted a bunch of them over on my TikTok, so make sure you go check that out if you still have it. I believe I got 3 out of 4 correct. Now I'm going to start off with the Chiefs and Texans game. If you haven't figured it out by now, I'm not the biggest Chiefs fan. You can call it, getting on the Chiefs hate bandwagon. You can call it whatever your little heart desires. I have my own opinions about it, and I think it goes far beyond the Chiefs hate bandwagon. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about the game. So the Chiefs did end up winning, and they will be going on to the AFC Championship. Obviously, they're hoping to get the three-peat Super Bowl. But anyways, the Chiefs' defense was really on top of their game, and I believe they were a very good key component to the success of their win. They took down CJ Stroud literally any chance that they got. A star player on the Chiefs' defense was George Karlaftis. Is that how you say it? He got 3 of the team's 8 sacks, and he got 8 of its 21 pressures. So when I say pressure, for those who don't know, it just means that when the defense is sort of threatening the QB, making him have to think faster, throw the ball faster, it usually makes the QB mess up, or it ends in the defense getting a sack, that kind of thing. That's the short-term definition, or how I understand it. So I do want to talk about a couple of things in regards to the Chiefs, one of them being Travis Kelce having way too much time to be able to run around on that field. To see him literally hold the ball and just run around, nobody's around me. What? Like, hello? Where were you people? And OMG, the penalties in this game were unbelievable. I mean, we can have a whole thing on the Chiefs and penalties in general, and how, for some odd reason, the Chiefs' penalties always are in their favor. Patrick Mahomes' flopping has gone so out of hand that even the commentators were like, the are you doing? He's not even hiding it anymore. It's beyond obvious what he's doing. Because of these horrendous penalties, 8 were accepted on the Texans side, which costed them a total of 82 yards. And then you look at the Chiefs, and they only accepted 4, which only costed them 29 yards. So, of course, this game seemed to already be in the favor of the Chiefs. But enough complaining already about that. CJ Stroud was able to lead with yards in that game with 336 compared to the Chiefs' 212. But even with all that yardage, they only were able to get 1 touchdown. I will say that Will Anderson Jr.'s defense was amazing. He was able to get 4 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss, 2... Oh, my fingers don't work that way. 2 QB hits, and 4 QB pressures. That's pretty damn good if you ask me. But let's talk about the Texans' special teams. So they didn't do very well to start off with. They allowed a 63-yard kickoff return. This got Chris Boyd upset, and he threw his helmet. That got a 15-yard penalty, and then that got him into a little tiff with the special teams coach. So it was just a little rough in the beginning. But it has come out that him and the coach, they're buddies. They love each other. They get along. It's fine. All is well for them. Then you had a 35-yard field goal attempt. That got blocked. So, am I happy with this outcome? No, of course I'm not. I really wanted the Texans to win. I did predict the Chiefs would win just because I know how the Chiefs work in that way. But it would have been very cool to see the Texans move on. I do think that they did a wonderful job. But here we are now, the Chiefs move on. Next was the Commanders versus Lions game. This is the prediction that I got wrong, which a lot of people were surprised by. Nobody really expected this outcome. I know that there's lots of talk of the Commanders being the underdog and the Lions going from this terrible franchise to Dan Campbell building it to be, hello, playoff contenders. I felt really bad for the Lions. Dan Campbell was crying. He was like, it's all my fault. No, it's not. Stop. Don't say that. But I am very happy for the Commanders. I think that's very cool and awesome. Always fun to be the underdog and to prove everybody wrong. This is the first time in 33 years that they've been to an NFC championship. So Jaden Daniels threw 2 touchdowns. And Mike, I'm not even going to try to attempt to say his last name. He also had 2 interceptions. Now the Lions, they were just doomed from the 5 turnovers that they experienced throughout this game. Now, of course, you hear people say that Jared Goff sold the game. He's the reason they lost. Yada, yada, yada. Here's my thing on that. I never believe that it's always just going to be one person that sells the game, is the reason why they lost the game. I also don't want to say that it was a whole group of people that were that caused them to lose the game. But that's how I feel. I do feel like it's kind of a group effort to lose together. I just don't believe that it's fair to put all of this pressure on one person and blame them for an entire franchise, if that makes sense. Jared Goff was amazing this year, and just because he kind of messed up one game, all of a sudden, he's like the worst person ever. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it's something that's fair. It definitely sucks because I definitely thought the Lions were going to win. I wanted to see them win. But I sometimes think that it's just a fluke. Sometimes people just aren't on their A game. But happy for the Commanders. I'm happy to see where that goes. They won. Let's move on to the next. Now let's talk Rams versus Eagles. So the weather had a lot to do with the outcome of this game. I believe that when a team is not used to certain weather conditions, they are going to struggle the most. The Eagles defense was really able to come through even through these weather conditions, and they especially came through towards the end of the game when the Rams had a chance to come back and win it. Ultimately, they forced a sack on a 3rd down, and they got an incompletion on the 4th down. Then there was the whole Rams letting 2 major fumbles happen, so I think the weather perhaps led to a lot of the mistakes that they made. Do I think that they would have come on top no matter the weather condition? No, I still think that maybe not as many mistakes would have happened, but I still think the Eagles would have won. Also, the Rams were not able to stop Saquon Barkley whatsoever. He got 205 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, making this the 5th most playoff rushing yards in a single game. The Eagles' offense wasn't the sharpest, but it got them where they needed to in that first half. Jalen Hurts ran for a 44-yard touchdown. Unfortunately, they didn't get the extra point with the field goal. But don't worry because Saquon Barkley came back with a 62-yard touchdown. And of course, we had some Rams touchdowns in there. And then there was the point in time where Jalen Hurts got hurt. From my understanding, it wasn't terrible, but there's rumors always swirling around that teams kind of perk up, if you know what I mean, their players and get them back on the field. Hello, Aaron Rodgers. If you know, you know. Now my sweet, sweet Bills versus the Ravens. I guessed Bills. I had faith in them when everybody was saying, no, you should say the Ravens. No, I stuck with my Bills. And I got it right. Of course, people predicted the Ravens to win because they have people like Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. But sometimes it's just not enough. The Ravens offense rushed 176 yards on 20 carries, and they had 9 runs with 10 plus yards within those runs. But still not enough for the Ravens to be able to continue because some of these passes were dropped. And you people know what passes I'm talking about. Mark Andrews dropped a 2-point attempt. Everybody is saying that he sold the game. Back to my Jared Goff comment, same thing. I feel like it's very unfair to just blame one player. I think there will always be multiple factors as to why a team didn't win. So the Bills' offense was able to take advantage of the Ravens' mistakes by being able to get 3 touchdowns out of 4 first-half possessions and not turning over the ball. The Bills' defense found success blitzing on Jackson and putting pressure on him. The Bills were able to have Taylor Rapp intercept Jackson, Damar Hamlin had a sack against Lamar Jackson, and Von Miller was able to pick up a fumble. The Ravens were able to score on 3 of 4 second half possessions, and then of course they were at one point able to catch up to the Bills points wise, but the defense made sure that they continued to stay back. Now I'm very, very excited to see how these championship games will go. If you want to check out those predictions, they will be over on my TikTok. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys learned something so cool and awesome. Thank you so much for the support so far. I am very grateful for everybody that's been here either since the beginning or right in this very moment. And you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions. I love to hear them. I love you all so much. Mwah.